Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Dreamers Game 1, where we are playing Yomi. This is turn 51. I had to think about it there for a second. Okay, let's jump in. We have some research that we have completed. So, we just finished up, if I'm remembering correctly, we just finished up Alteration 6, right? And we were going to jump over to Conjuration, I believe was the intention, or maybe go up some more Alteration. But before we did that, we decided to grab some miscellaneous levels in Blood. Specifically, I think so we could get Bowl of Blood, but this is also a precursor set to actually just having, one, some blood magic, and two, to potentially run up to vampires now that we have the high death partial blood individual, the unique hero that we have, Fukushima, or I can't remember his name. Anyways, so that was just a little cursory thing. Now we're probably going to run up Conjuration to something like Well of Misery. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, we got Blood 1 and Blood 2 research this turn. So, boom. Mark that down. Now what do we got going on? We've got a couple thrones this turn. We obviously have Throne of Gold, right? And then Helheim has taken the Throne of Bureaucracy. So I think we've looked at this one before. We'll double check it here in a second. But that is another throne in Helheim's pocket, and that is not great. We need to keep an eye on that. The game is the board state is getting a little dicey when it comes to Helheim. So people are starting to really talk about that. Next up, we have a bunch of remote site searching, but we're kind of getting to the point to where, you know, remote site searches are kind of gambles, really hit or miss, and we've got nothing, 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 back. So we didn't get anything. This is especially painful for the Auspex and the Augury. Getting something out of the others would be nice, but okay if we don't. But the Auspex and Augury, like, we really need more fire and air, and it's really unfortunate that we're not getting it. So, fingers crossed that that changes in the near future, but we'll see. We did have 10 Blood Slaves this turn, so that was pretty okay, not horrible. And then we are on to battles. So we have been attacked in the Eagle Reach Mountains, and really this is just Hinnom raiding us back. This particular Melkart does have a Holy Scourge, so we do kind of need to keep eyes on this. He's definitely going to destroy this PD. Let's see if he has added anything into his mix. He's got Iron Skin, Temper Flesh, and no, it's the same thing that he's been doing for like 20 turns now. Blessing, Iron Skin, Temper Flesh. Nothing really added into kits. Nothing really added into, like, there's not all of a sudden he's not, you know, he's not carrying around Blood Slaves or anything like that, and suddenly putting in anything there. So pretty basic. So we're gonna lose in Eagle Reach Mountains. We attack in Ostin. And this is Tokimochi. Just kind of trying to get out of the Hinnomese territory. Hinnomese. I like Hinnomese as a statement. Now we have added in a few new little tricks here recently. We have thrown in Soul Vortex into our general setup with most of our Dione. So, Tokimochi Soul Vortex is in, flies in, and starts killing. And yeah, it's pretty nice. Done and done. So we win in Ostin. We get attacked in Cormark. And this is just pushing us, or trying to push us off of Cormark. Which we have a single individual at. We have Kotaro. And this is kind of a large force to try to deal with a single Dione. Well, okay, so the size of the force doesn't matter necessarily for this Dione, but the size of the individuals in the force does matter, because these are all giant-sized creatures, so they hit pretty hard, right? Like these broadswords, 26 damage, even cut with Temper Flesh, and dealing with high protection, this is enough to kind of try to chip us, so that's threatening. And then, of course, the Dawn Blades are threatening, right? So we've got some potential issues. We have the ability to win this, but we'll see how it goes. So Kotaro is going to Iron Skin up. Oh, and here's another thing. An Air Elemental gets summoned. I don't think... Yeah, look at this. Kotaro has -5 shock. He's susceptible to shock. That's really bad for us. An Air Elemental will fuck us up. Unless we get really lucky and we smack it real quick and like drop it down size-wise, that's going to be really bad for us. Incinerations are something we can handle a little bit of, but not great. Okay, so we've blessed, so we now have shock resistance. I forgot about that, so actually we're okay there. Maybe the Air Elemental won't be that bad. We got multiple Air Elementals coming in. That's probably not going to be something that we can deal with. Temper Flesh goes up. Are we going to get another cast off before we get the Air Elemental in our face? Oh, the Air Elemental went there. Ooh. Okay, we got Soul Vortex off. Now the Air Elemental's on us. Gonna start trampling. 2 Air Elementals is gonna be a big problem. Yeah, I don't know that this is gonna work out for us. The consistently pushing Air Elementals is kind of interesting. Also, the fact that this Ketasot just ran into combat is also kind of interesting. Okay, we've been pushed in the corner, and we can no longer be trampled, basically. So now is our Soul Vortex and Regeneration gonna keep us alive? Maybe. Very maybe. We're doing a fair amount of damage. Ooh, those Incinerates hurt. And we have broken. We have routed. So, as soon as we get the opportunity, we're going to fly out. We did some damage before we flew out, though. But, yeah, we just failed. We just failed a check there. Which is unfortunate. So that was in Core Mark. We killed a Priest, a Ketasot, 9 long dead Rephites. We didn't get any of the actual Rephites. That's unfortunate. That would have been nice. Did we retreat somewhere successfully? We did. We successfully retreated to Shambolic, which is nice. Okay. So we have attacked in Jabero. So we lose Cormark, but we attack into Jabero. And this is our army. And there's barely anything here. So this is obviously just a stomp. Our wolves hit the PD, and then we just march in. Easy peasy, no losses. Very good. We see a battle on the Steppe of Wild Horses between Hinnom and Lanka. Lanka has just a little bit of PD here. There's 2 Melkarts. Let's take a look at them. Another Holy Scourge. And a Stinger Vine Shield set up. So, anything with them? Iron Skins, Temper Fleshes, Iron Skins, Blesses. Yeah, nothing new. So they're going to win there. We attack into Shambolic, which is why we actually had the ability to route out. And this is Sune. So let's see. Okay, just up against a little bit of PD. Double checking what we do. We do Blessing, Iron Skin, Temper Flesh, Soul Vortex, and Fire Shield. So, yep, sounds good. How much reinvigoration do we have? We only have 3 reinvigoration. That's off of the... Oh, it's because of the Soul Vortex and Fire Shield situation, we're not actually putting up Earth Power here. So there is that. That's interesting. Okay, so we win in Shambolic, and then we get to witness Ubar versus Aramesha. Yeah, this is one of Aramesha's last holdouts. So Ubar just has a bunch of Cynocephalian warriors here and Ubaran desert warriors. And, I mean, honestly, there's nothing there. So, yeah, Ubar is definitely going to win there. Easy peasy. So, interesting turn. A bunch of little, like, raiding back and forth scenarios, but we're kind of starting to flex with our Dionis there. Cormark absolutely could have gone... I mean, they could have killed us. It got a little close here or there. If they had more mages in that fight, they could have, like, incinerated us down or something like that. But just the few that they had, we absolutely... If we hadn't routed there, we totally could have just killed everything there. Because we'd actually kind of stabilized our HP, after the air elementals, and we were starting to just kill everything. If we had been given a little bit more time, we absolutely would have killed off all of this force. So that's really good for us. That's, you know, each of these Rephite warriors being 130 gold. That's a bit. You know, Ketasats being 70 gold. Amis being 120 gold a pop. Like, that would have been a chunk of change to lose. So we're close. We're getting close. So anyways, our ratio for this turn has been versus Hinnom, 3 wins and 2 losses. So not too bad. Let me jot that down. Okay. Onwards we go. We have some events. We have Unexpected Event in Mysia. So this is just a rebirth event in Mysia. Cool. Then we have... A handful of magic gems has been found in a grove in the forest in Ancient Woods, so +2 nature gems. A sectarian movement has emerged in the province in Ancient Woods, and their false prophet is preaching and gathering his flock, so we're losing some faith there. And then in Ulm, a freak show with local talents has gained fame and is now known throughout the neighboring provinces as well. So we gained plus 188 gold. And that's it for events. So events this turn gets us 188 gold and 2 nature gems, which is not bad. Okay, and that is pretty much it. Worldwide event has occurred. Oh, I forgot that this had happened. For a single day, all water had a tone of red as if tainted by blood. This is obviously a very bad omen, and unrest has increased worldwide. So, unrest event throughout the entirety of the world, which I think did affect our money pretty drastically, which is annoying, but we're kind of used to having shitty money, so it is what it is. And then the entrance to the fortification in Jabero has been breached, and then we just patrolled a bunch. So, let's talk about what our actual movements are. We've got a couple of things that are happening specifically. Most of the movements, not all, but most of the movements in our heartlands are for the purposes of just shuffling Oni around. You can specifically see that we do seem to be moving towards Gray Mountains a fair amount, and that is because we are going to put up a palisades there. I'll touch on that later with buildings, but we're going to put up a palisades there, and I'm starting to move Oni in that direction because we need to be able to basically have a fighting force against Helheim. So that's the generalized concept. And then other than that, we have a flurry of activity, potentially moving things towards Pestina or Hinwood or somewhere in those areas. We have a force in Strongdale that we're basically trying to amass at this point, though it is not going especially quickly. We actually have another decently sized force in Mysia, but most of our forces are in Jabero, so fighting against Helheim right now is probably not going to be a very good idea, but we might not have an option. Helheim now has 1, 2, 3, 4 thrones. out of the 6 thrones that they need. The Golden Throne is one of those thrones that they could take, but we do have a non-aggression pact. And that has been kind of a thing. I've been like, I don't want to fight Helheim because I don't want to potentially just give them the Golden Throne. But I am getting barraged with, statements from Ubar, from Lanka, not really from Ermor. Mostly it's just Ubar and Lanka, honestly, that are kind of like really pushing the I need to get into the war with Helheim to help take Helheim down, or to help at least keep Helheim from winning the game. So I'm probably going to cave to that pressure eventually, if for no other reason than the fact that I do think Helheim is very close to winning the game, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to do anything to stop that, to change that, right? But if I can do something to stop that or change that, the window in which I can do it is rapidly closing. So, yeah. Anyways. Other than all of those movements talking about Helheim, in actual movements for Hinnom, we continue to tighten the noose. Hinnom has less and less stable territory. We are storming the castle for Jibero this turn. We're actually going to stick around and commit to it. And the reason why we're doing that is because we want to make sure that we have a firm foothold, rather than just leaving a single entity to take it, a single Dione or something like that. We're just gonna stick together, because I don't want to get defeated in detail or anything like that. We are pulling who is it? We are pulling Kotaro out, it looks like, and we are bringing Tokemochi over to Jibero. Kotaro, in that battle, got hit with battle fright, and I think that is why he actually ended up routing. He took too many hefty hits there and got 2 wounds. So we're gonna pull him back and see. I'm not sure 100% what our plan's gonna be, but we don't want to just throw him out and have him get dropped repeated. So we'll see what we decide to do. That being said, we are going to immediately throw Tsunei and Masayuki onto Cormark in kind of a response. I have no idea if he'll actually sit there and patrol or anything like that, but we'll see what he actually decides to do, because I think 2 Dione will probably be fine in taking down most of the things that he could potentially do there, unless he patrols with a really big force or something like that. So we've got that going on. We are sneaking around with a couple of other locations. I don't think we have a lot of other attacks really happening this turn, but that's pretty much it. So, moving onwards into buildings. So we touched on this earlier. We are building a palisade in Grey Mountains. It's going to take us a few months, and I don't remember if I think I ended the nap, or I sent the announcement of ending our nap with Helheim this turn. We either did it this turn and we're chancing a turn where we don't have a palisade, or I'm doing it next turn so that we don't chance a turn. And basically, again, the whole reason for doing that is because Helheim's very close to winning the game. So I don't know that I'm gonna... I don't know if me attacking Helheim is going to help or hurt that notion. Probably the latter, but we'll see how it goes, right? I would rather... I don't know. Would I rather? I feel like saying I would rather have the game lose to miscalculation and bad action than lose to no action. I think that's the generalized statement there, right? Like, I would rather be brought into a war than get my ass kicked and lose that war and then lose the game than I would not be involved in the war at all and then just lose the game because I didn't do anything, you know? So we'll see how that all develops. So we're building a palisade in Grey Mountains, and then we are building a temple. Where are we building a temple? Ah, right, over here in Scardian Vale. So we are starting to accumulate a little bit of income gap here or there, which is potentially going to allow us to do some Oni Shugos. So what I'm going to try to start doing is I'm going to put a temple in Scardian Vale and probably drop some Oni Shugos there to turn it into a little bit of an Oni pip. It's kind of a crappy province anyways. So that will give us an opportunity to generate Oni closer to Hinnom, potentially, but also on our northern border with Ubar. Just because we're potentially fighting against Helheim with Ubar's aid doesn't mean that I trust Ubar necessarily. So we'll see how that goes. So buildings, palisade +1, and temple +1. Jot that down. And then rituals, we are all over the place with our rituals. Again, this is mostly site searching, except for we have reanimation in Yomi, actually. We're reanimating to add things into our patrolling options. We have Yukimitsu over here patrolling with a little force, so we're trying to reanimate until we have a bigger force to patrol with and try to deal with all of this stuff. Fingers crossed. So aside from that, though, we have 2 Voice of Apsus going, one in Ulm, one in the Below. We have a Dark Knowledge going. We have 3 more Haru specs going, a Bowl of Blood going. We're probably not going to do a lot of Bowl of Bloods, but I'm going to try to fish out a couple of Bowls of Blood. For example, I'm specifically targeting Llama because we're continuously having unrest generate in Llama, so I have a suspicion that there's like a brigand layer or something there, which tends to be a blood site, if I'm remembering correctly. So we might target a couple of specific things with Bowls of Blood, but generally speaking, I don't find Bowl of Blood to be that useful. There just aren't that many blood sites, so is what it is. But yeah, so rituals is 2 Voice of Apsu, 1 Dark Knowledge, 3 Horror Specs, 1 Bowl of Blood, and 1 Animation. That. And then forging, we're actually doing a fair bit of forging around and about. Again, I'm just going to go down the list because it's easier than trying to find each little location because we're spread out where we're forging everywhere. We're doing 2 more Lightless Lanterns, 1 Armor of the Knights, 1 Dragon Helmet, 1 Firebrand, specifically because Firebrands are going to do way better for us in the long runs than Shadow Brands are. Shadow Brands are interesting, especially against living nations, but a lot of what we're going up against now is undead or the potential for undead. So Firebrands are going to do better than there. A Charcoal Shield, a Storm Spool, and a Ring of Regeneration. And that is all mostly stuff just to set out and have a... again, we're trying to get to this point to where we're creating about a single gear set per turn. We're not super into that yet, but that's the thing that we're aiming towards. Is I want to get to the point to where we are recruiting Dai Oni every turn, and we're recruiting Oni Shugo in some location in an alternating turn, and we can gear set a Dione one turn, gear set a Oni Shugo one turn, gear set a Dione the next turn, gear, back and forth and back and forth. Once we get to the point to where we can do that, that is a lot of combat potential and raiding potential that we can throw onto the battlefield in just like 10 turns. Like, that's a lot to put out there pretty quickly. So that's the goal. I don't think we're going to get there for like another 10 or 15 turns though. So, and a lot of that's going to come down to focusing on finishing things with Hinnom and not getting fucked up by Helheim, which I don't know that that's going to happen. So we'll see how that goes. So anyways, I went off and didn't cover. So 2 Lightless Lanterns, 1 Armor of Knights, 1 Dragon Helmet, 1 Firebrand, 1 Charcoal Shield, 1 Storm Spool, and 1 Ring of Regeneration. That's that. And everything else is mostly generally nothing going on, right? We don't have a lot of money to be recruiting in various locations, so we don't have a lot of recruitment this turn. We have a little bit of unrest all over the place. thanks to just being Yomi, but also thanks to that blood event. So other than that, we're not really doing too terribly much. Research-wise, we are now aiming to head to Well of Misery. This is for the intention of putting up Well of Misery, and then taking our what will be very high death income at that point, and probably either doing consistently Wraith Lords, or flipping over and running up, what is it, Thaumaturgy? No, it's enchantment. Running up enchantment to 8 and doing Lichcraft. And then we can potentially swap into like Dione 1 turn, Lich 1 turn, Dione 1 turn, Lich 1 turn, or Wraith Lord 1 turn, right? As kind of like geared out sets or things like that. Or we don't have to like fully gear out those types of things either, since they're immortal, etc., etc. But typically I find with Liches or Wraiths, you can get a lot out of them if you don't gear them at all, but if you gear them a little bit cheaply, I think it really boosts their efficiency. So anyways, that's kind of the general effect that we're going for. On the way, we're going to get some other stuff that is pretty nice, right? So this isn't just for Well of Misery. Going up to Conjuration 6 gets us Gozumezu, which are actually pretty good anti-thugs or anti-super combatants. Maybe not anti-super combatants, but they're pretty interesting, right? That also gets us access to things like Lamia Queen, which isn't horrible, but it's really hard for us to try to do anything with. And then we get other stuff like Troll King's Court, which we can actually make use of. We have a fair amount of, Earth Gems, etc., etc. The Araburu Kami is interesting, but is very inefficient for us to make too terribly much use of. But if we do get to our whole Well of Misery thing, it's only 5 death gems, so we could set up a little Araburu factory. That's all they do in that place for like 20 or 30 turns is summon Araburus, and then suddenly we have a very elite little force of Araburus, which would be kind of cool. And then at level 8 itself, the thing that we can get access to besides Well of Misery, and this is actually, I think, potentially pretty important for us, is Fairy Court. So our god can actually cast Fairy Court very easily, and Fairy Court will get us access to a high air caster, which is one of the only things that we don't really have right now. And that and a high nature caster that is mobile, right? Because we have our god that is a high nature caster, but he can't move. But getting either of those or both of those into some of our armies for things like Fog Warriors, Mass Regeneration, etc., that's pretty good shit. So I think the Well of Misery is going to be the main focus there, but Fairy Court, I think, is going to be a very nice thing as well. Another thing that I think is probably going to be pretty important later on is Manifestations. We have a fair number of higher death options, basically, with our Dione. And if we just throw Manifestations out, if we basically like, okay, we need to crack this location. Say, for example, if we needed to crack a throne, we could sit there and just have, a couple of Diones go manifestation, 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 manifestation a couple times a turn with a high death income, and that shit will wither down a fort pretty quickly. So that's pretty interesting. Anyways, I think that's pretty much all to talk about. We're gonna have Conjuration 6 next turn. It'll take 5 or 6 turns to get all the way up to Conjuration 8, I believe. Right? Because we'll have Conjuration... No. It's going to take like 7 or 8 turns, depending on whether or not we can continue to boost our research speed. We've got a lot of research away from the ability to research right now, so we're losing quite a bit there. But, yeah. we're getting closer. Anyways, that's gonna be it for the turn. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.